So, welcome to Creatives Connect. I'm Gemma Rosenthal, and some of you know me, some of you might not. This might be the first time that you've joined us, or it might be you're a regular. So, either way, welcome. And if you're watching this on the replay on Zoom, welcome as well. And know that you're just as valid and valuable as everyone on this call. And we hope that today, some of the things that we're going to talk about is going to help you on your healing journey and your creative journey. So I started Creatives Connect to combine those things, the healing journey that I've been on since about 2012, and then also my creative side, which I love to sing. If you know me already, I'm a singer songwriter. I also dance and write, and actually I'm in a book with Siobhan. So she wrote a book called Words of the Wise, Wisdom from Awakening Journeys, and it's a bestseller on Amazon, and it's an amazing book. So if you haven't got it already, let either me or Siobhan know and you can purchase a copy. And it's a phenomenal book, really high value for the price as well. So I just thought I'd share about that. And I met Siobhan in 2019, I think it was, and she started these connection sessions called Connection Cafe at the time. And for me, it was really a wonderful place to meet new people and connect with like-minded souls. And I delivered a couple of sessions for the group. I think I did one on courage, one on creativity, and one on communication, if I can remember rightly. And I just was so inspired by her work. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I was really inspired by Siobhan's generosity, her kindness and patience, her care, and just her ability to listen. And these qualities are quite rare in people, that you can just go to someone. We're close friends now, so I can go to Siobhan if I've got any problems and she can come to me. And it's just a really unique friendship and really special. And I can't wait to hear what she's got for us tonight. So thank you all for joining.
Thank you.
Siobhan.
Thank you for thanks for that lovely introduction. And I've been to a few of these Creatives Connect events, and each one has been wonderful. Each speaker brings something new and interesting to share. So I've been really blessed and privileged to be asked to speak tonight, and I'm really looking forward to sharing some of the things that I've been working on and what's really close to my heart right now. Um, I don't know how you're going to run the session, Gemma. I don't know if you're wanting to do like introductions first of all, or how would you like to
Yeah,
go?
we'll do a quick meditation first, and then we'll do the introduction. So just to get us nice and grounded, because obviously when we're working with trauma or if we're doing any kind of creativity, we want to be nice and present. So if you just sit where you are, sitting with your hands on your lap and closing your eyes if you would like to, if that feels good for you, and taking a deep breath in and out. And again. And just connect to your heart center. Feel into the preciousness of this moment, right here, right now. And the fact that you're here joining with this group. And imagine that we're all in a circle, in person, including the people that are watching right now, and that we're all connected. And just take a moment to notice your body, how it feels in the space, and connect to the base of your spine. So you might want to put your hands on your belly if that feels good for you. So we're going to talk about trauma awareness, and trauma is often stored in the body. So we want to be extra kind to our bodies today. And one of the things that can really help, a really simple exercise, is just putting a hand on your heart and a hand on your belly. And just taking a few deep breaths. This just tells the body that you're safe, you're in this moment, and there's nothing for you to do right now. So this is something that you can do anytime, anywhere. If you just need a moment to center yourself. And also putting the awareness on the feet as well. We often forget our feet, but they ground us. And just imagining that you've got roots going down into the earth, to Mother Earth, and you've got a huge tree that's supporting you behind you. Trees can be really grounding as well, so going out in nature. And just visualize yourself in nature now, or whatever scene is supportive for you. Just use your imagination to create a scene that's a safe place for you. And we'll just take a few moments to be in silence and just to witness this safe place. And when you're ready, just open your eyes and come back into the space, into the room. And Siobhan, if you'd like to introduce yourself, we're going to go around the group and do introductions. Starting with Siobhan, I think I've introduced myself to everyone, but if you want to find out more about what I do, you can follow me on social media or on my website, which I'll put some links to later. Off you go, Siobhan. I think you're muted. We're both doing that today.
So I'm Siobhan. Siobhan Louise is my pen name and my name on Facebook. So that's where you can follow me and stay up to date with what I'm up to at the minute. I'm a coach and I generally work with women around boosting their self-esteem, their confidence, and their creativity, especially around writing and finding their written voice. So I've helped women to write and publish books. That's what I'm really passionate about, but I'm also passionate about lots of other creative outlets. So photography for me has been an amazing outlet for my creativity. I've been on my spiritual awakening journey, I'd say, for most of my adult life. And I had a spiritual awakening in 2016. And from there, just learning to heal myself and learning about trauma, learning about how we release trauma, has been a big part of my journey since then. So my work at the minute is around helping people to do the inner work and release that trauma so they can go on and live lives that are filled with joy and that are filled with happiness and creativity. So I'm really interested in that intersection between trauma and healing and creativity and how that can, go together to create beautiful transformations. So yeah, I'm into creative stuff, writing especially, and I'm currently working alongside a women's organisation at the minute as well as a coach, a women's wellbeing coach there, just helping women that have come through domestic violence or the criminal justice system to look at their trauma, but in a really holistic way, and bringing a lot of creativity into their lives as well to help them process and move forward in their lives. And yeah, that's me. And you can connect with me on Facebook.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Who would like to go next? Feel free to share about your business or about your life or why you're here. Adam, off you go.
Hey there. So my name's Adam. I'm a coach again from the UK. I haven't really talked about it on here, but I had a similar sort of spiritual awakening when I was younger, and but because of my background, I've done a lot of practical things as well. So I it was interesting what you're saying about trauma because I've tried to look at trauma in terms of the learning process and how trauma affects the learning process in people, and then what elements of play appeal to them and encourage them to have confidence. Um, this is probably a great chat to come along to. Um, and I'm developing my coaching business, and I've coached one person for a year, and I've coached several people, for shorter periods, and I've gotten some good feedback. I'm happy with it, but I absolutely want to support people and connect with people more, and this is the year. I feel that I'm going to do that, so that's great. It's nice to meet everyone, by the way, as well. So.
Thank you so much. Who would like to go next?
I'll go next.
I was going to say,
Hello. Hi. Hi, I'm Julia. I'm in a band called Cyteria, and my creative process at the moment is a little bit stale. So I'm looking to get started again with all of the songwriting. Well, kind of get all of the rust out of my cogs that has been building for the past year. Because we're gonna release a new album hopefully at the end of next year. And I'll pass you on. No, no, she doesn't want to talk tonight. The the wife doesn't want to chat. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you for
And
sharing.
I have a shed load of trauma as well, by the way. Since we're talking about it.
Let's send a heart. Where's the? I don't know where the reactions are. There we go. Yep, Cyteria is an amazing band, by the way. I went to go and see them in Leeds a couple of days ago, and they put on a really good show. Really positive energy, and if you like rock kind of style, I think you'll really enjoy it. So I recommend going to their gigs for sure. Anyone else want to go next? Yeah, I just wanted to mention as well, there's no pressure to
I'm
talk.
happy to.
Uh, Off you go. Yeah. Thank you, Ross.
My name's Russell Stillwell. So I work as I actually work as a NED to three different organisations, as well as running my own smaller business these days. Once upon a time, I grew a business from at the back of a van up to quite a sizable organisation in the construction industry. Um, I come from a musical family, so my mum was a professional singer, my dad a professional drummer. They met on a cruise ship called the Canberra, where my mum was the resident cabaret artist and my dad the resident drummer. But I would say, I've been through quite an unusual upbringing that's probably from a very, very young age created an abandonment issue and trauma bond to hello, I am here, mum, dad, hello, I am here. And kind of that following its way through life with me. Unfortunately, not all good and glamorous. I attempted to take my own life in 2017. I say I attempted. I didn't. Well, I knew what my intent was, but it was kind of it was just I took a load of tablets and then I sicked them all up and then I was like I didn't feel very well, but it was kind of I knew it was a time, and then I sadly in 2010 planned to take my own life again, and that's all associated with trauma bonds that come from childhood. As much as it can be nice to grow up in a family where there's all the music, and that's the good part of it. And I sing myself, but I try to anyway. But it also comes with alcohol, and fueled in the 70s, 80s, and 90s was fueled with quite a lot of alcohol and different emotions in our family, which presented themselves on my brother and I, but not all in a negative way. The mania, I suppose, that was created from a child created the high function inside of me that sort of built a business from out the back of a van up to employing over 100 people, and did that over 20 years, and now coaching other businesses, but sort of using that experience. And my most recent venture is that I'm launching a new well-being brand, which is revolving around looking closely at workplace culture and how high functioning anxiety and high functioning behavior when it comes to emotions have been driven in entrepreneurship to be a thing. To be an entrepreneur, really, it'd be very unusual to be an entrepreneur and not be high functioning. But understanding the emotions that come with that, and I'm doing this a big piece of research at the moment around how the ego manifests itself in leadership and entrepreneurship and in business, especially when there is success, and then the perception of that success coming with money, creating grandiose behavior and an ego that becomes even more greedier and even better, and trying to better itself all the time, to actually being something that's filled from pride, that has the manifestations of leading to shame, guilt, anger, grief, and sort of understanding the map. I don't know if everyone does the map of consciousness and how that functions and how that works. And so the padded cell, which is the brand, which is we're building a wellbeing centre in Essex, and creating a local community place where people can come and go on a little bit of a different journey, with a benchmark based on courage, and hopefully enabling people to maybe show a little bit of human to human love in place of this constant insular behaviour that goes on in society.
Thank you for sharing that, Russ. I think there's quite a lot of things in there that are really important. You were saying about the ego and how different high functioning things can cause problems. And I definitely think is one of those things that needs addressing. So thank 100%. You for sharing that. Really appreciate. Who would like to go next?
I'll give it a go. I feel ready now. I am Chantal, investigator by day, catching bad cops, and also a published author. I mainly write poetry, spoken word, but I'm also writing my autobiography, It touches on a variety of themes, not exclusive of, but including mental health, living with chronic illness, visible illness, childhood trauma. So I've got that badge as well. Race identity, sexuality, and a variety of things. It's what's interesting for me is that my creativity is most easily unlocked when I'm in a trauma response. And so it's a compliment to my partner, Julia, who spoke earlier, that I haven't been writing much this year. Because I've been very distracted doing life, which has been great. So I am working with a therapist to try and find ways to be creative when I'm actually in a more positive space, which is something quite new for me. But yeah, making good progress with it. Hopefully it will be finished in next year, hopefully. But yeah, very keen to learn from others about how to be more creative. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. I love how people are bringing their vulnerability and sharing their creative work as well, whether that's through business or writing, or singing. I think what you said there about creating from a trauma response is really interesting, isn't it? Because we sort of have this perception sometimes that we can't write something unless it's sort of from that place. But learning to write from a place of joy or a place of wonder or ease, there's so many different ways we can create, and it doesn't have to come from one emotion or one feeling. I know when I'm creating it, it can be such a variety of different aspects of myself, and it's almost like uncovering those aspects can be part of the creative process. So going, wow, I didn't even know I could feel all these things. And even if you're writing about something that happened in the past, maybe that was more traumatic, but then you can look at it from a place of more healed space. So yeah, I think it's a really exciting process that you're on and a journey. Thanks. Next, Chris.
Yeah, I'll go next. I'm Chris, and I'm a marketing coach, and I specialize in storytelling. And I just saw Gemma disappear, and she's.
Sorry, I was taking this moment to go to the bathroom, but that's only because I know your story, but I will watch it on.
Oh, well, you never know. There might be something new.
Tell me something I don't know, and then I'll watch it. I'll see if
Well, give me a chance.
Sorry, off you go.
I'm beginning with the bit that you know, and yeah. Anyway, yes. So, and I'm coming more and more to the conclusion that both storytelling and marketing are means to care for other people as we go through life and deal with everything that life throws at us. We accumulate wisdom that we can share with others, and we do that through our storytelling and in the world of business through marketing. So that's what I do, and I have opportunities for people to share stories with a few other business people and get feedback, and I don't charge for those meetings. So if that's something that interests you, let me know. The other thing I wanted to mention is this is the new bit, Gemma, so I'm glad you're back. I have a vision of something that I want to write about the River of Life. And the River of Life in Sheffield is obviously the River Porter. So I'm looking for stories about the River Porter. There can be true stories from contemporary life or history, or they can be folklore stories, which are also true, but in a different way. And what I'm aiming for is an almost entirely unreliable history and story of that river. So if anybody is familiar with anything about the River Porter, doesn't seem to be a lot written about it. So I think it's an exciting place to be. And it also, and the reason I'm mentioning it is that I think when we're telling our stories, it is so important, not although their stories are very intimate about ourselves, we also need to reach out and include the things that are external to us, the places where we live and the food that we enjoy eating and all of those sorts of things. And it's getting all that lined up and worked out that makes storytelling such a exciting challenge. So if anyone knows anything, I'd be very happy to hear from them.
Thanks, Chris. I was reading about we went for a walk on the Riverlin the other day, so where the Riverlin and Loxley meet, but that's not the River Porter, so sorry, I don't know anything about the River Porter. Although I do have a story in the sense of when I was at school, we had houses, like Harry Potter has houses, but we had the rivers of Sheffield, and I was in Porter.
So was I.
Were you?
Yeah. Oh, way, way back. Yes, I was
Oh,
in. What colour was it?
blue.
Oh, it was blue for you. It was red for me, which is actually Porter's colour, because the name Porter is named after the beer,
Oh,
because
well,
it has iron ore in the water.
I didn't know other schools did it. I guess they do.
Well, yeah. Well, this was Hunter's Bar School at the
Yeah.
time.
Okay. I also want to mention that I don't know if you mentioned it before, but me and Chris used to do a podcast called Find, Tell, Share, and there's still episodes that you can listen to. We did, I don't know how many episodes did we do?
I don't know. I can't 30 something. I think.
30 something.
I believe. Did you do it, Siobhan?
Yeah, she did.
Yes. Yes. She's
Yeah, I
nodding.
did. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can listen
Yeah.
to Siobhan's episode. Let me try and find it
Yeah.
while I'm not.
Well, let's not get too distracted,
Yeah.
or we'll
Anyway,
never get.
next person. Helen, off you go.
Hi, my name's Helen. Um, so I've sort of come from trauma as a child and kind of overcome trauma through doing creative stuff like pottery. I've been a potter, and music. But I also worked as a therapist in the NHS, in sort of forensic mental health and other mental health, like learning disability, and then came out of the NHS to launch a business of yoga and sound healing. So I'm very much into the body and how the body can heal itself. And I work with people, just regular people in the community, as well as sort of women's charity, women who've been abused in relationships. So yeah, domestic violence. And I've done sort of some specific training around using breath work. So I think the breath can be really powerful. And looking at addictions, and addictions not just in terms of what we might traditionally think we're addicted to, but addiction in terms of ways of thinking and being, which sort of fascinates me. That we sort of can be addicted to certain ways of thinking and being when there are so many other ways of thinking and being. Yeah, anyway, nice to meet you all, and that's me.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you for sharing. I love what you said about being addicted to ways of thinking and being. I can definitely relate to that within myself. And that's why I love coaching, because you can retrain the thinking so that even though some of the addictions might still be there, whether that's mind addictions or other outer addictions, I think through retraining your body and mind to, I suppose, come back to a center place, it's like if those things arise, now I can talk to myself, or I can visualize something, or I can hold my body or do some yoga, and it brings me back to that still place within. I think you'll probably resonate with that as well with your training. And I suppose it's something that's why I love to share these group sessions where people can bring their different skills and tools and techniques, because we're all helping each other to come back to that place within us. And yeah, help
Absolutely.
each other.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, who would like to go next? Yeah, Katie, off you go.
Okay, hi, I'm Katie. She, her, they. I've described myself as trans-feminine and non-binary. I did consider, I was with the gender clinic for a few years, but I decided not to conform to the binary, so they kicked me out. I'm really interested in trauma because I recognise I'm working with my own complex trauma. I knew what it was without all the great definitions and stuff around about the age of somewhere between 3 and 4. And I was living on a council estate in the northeast of England. And I was in my 40s before I ever told anybody who I was inside, basically. So I've lived a life of internalizing fear about being discovered, internalizing self-disgust about who I am, and self condemnation and all of those kind of negative things I've went through. I'm also currently awaiting an adult ADHD assessment, and I was assessed as being retarded as a child, basically. At primary school, I ended up getting one of the hardest degrees you can get, a mechanical engineering degree. I only did that because they told me I couldn't do a veterinarian degree. But I realised after I'd left engineering, because I hated it, it wasn't really what I wanted to do, but I did it out of belligerence and bloody-mindedness to prove people wrong. And I moved into developmental training and outdoor pursuits, stuff like that. And I started learning all about the brain, and I realized that I was right brain dominant, I was dyslexic, and I had ADHD, blah, blah, blah. And later on, more recently, if people are familiar with human design, amazing canon of knowledge. So I have an energy type, which is called being a projector, which is essentially a default coach for people. The majority of the world are generators, which are like the Duracell bunnies. We're here to help guide that energy. But we get shoehorned back into turning up in the world as if we're generators, so we get burnt out. So lots and lots of stress and trauma. And when I eventually, through various diverse careers, ended up going, okay, I can't help helping people, so I'm going to get some qualifications so that I can legitimize myself. Got qualified in neuro-linguistic programming, clinical hypnosis, emotional freedom technique. I also am a a tuned Reiki healer, and then I've got this and that. All of the kind of like mishmash of bits and pieces come in. And when I was working with people, getting absolutely incredible results with people, especially with EFT. So if you talk about trauma, emotional freedom technique and other energy psychologies, they are the business. I've literally seen veterans with PTSD, not only on video, but me working myself with people, turned around in less than half an hour. And it's not kind of like a competition for how quickly people can recover, but that's what I've seen in front of me. People with sort of like lifelong phobias, traumas, etc. have recovered. But here's the big but: it's not so easy with CPTSD. EFT with specific situational traumas, this event, this event, this event, it works very easily. When it's developmental or complex, it's like you've been marinated and it's in every single cell of your body as a non-specific thing. You've just been like soaked and conditioned in it, tempered by it. So I'm quite interested in that. I've done a lot of, because one of my ways of dealing with trauma and who I am is to eventually give up and become reclusive. And I've been on a long career break after sort of like a number of accidents, a number of life explosions going on. I've been on a long career break while I've been bottoming out what's going on with me, so that I can share that process with other people, because there's so much insidious trauma in our world. And so part of how the trauma affects me is it shuts down my creative side. I'm naturally very creative. I shut it down when I tried to be the good boy, as I was trying to be at the time, and perform well at school and go through all the technical sides of things. But my true nature, even though I can now do all of that stuff, because it was like doing a physiotherapy on a weak side of my consciousness, I got really good at it, but it was at the cost of the creative side. So I can only create my art or my writing when it's done without intention. It's like channeling, it flows. I can't, if I try and do it deliberately, I can see where I've been trying to do it deliberately, because it's just wrong. It's just awkward and ugly. Yeah, been through, there's like lots of stuff I've been through where I got into inappropriate marriages because of what I wasn't dealing with people who had their own mental health issues. And that was like, don't let go of the tiger's tail. It was a bit of an experience, being a single parent twice. So yeah, lots of stuff going on there. I could go on and on, but I think one of the things because I've been on a deliberate spiritual path since about 86, 87, but always looking for something all my life. One of the things that's changed in the whole therapy coaching world is it's a lot easier to bring spirituality in now. When I first set off helping people, I could never really find myself a name that I was happy with as an NLP hypnosis kind of person. One of my friends said, well, I did consider getting ordained in the Church of England, but on that occasion, I listened to my inner guidance and decided not to. That was one of my better decisions in life. But it suggested being a spiritual agent provocateur, to get in there and get people's spirituality going. And I came across a term, somebody else called themselves this recently. I think this sums up what I want to do, because I'm looking to move forward, step into employment again and help people again. And the term life doula, I think that's the closest thing I've come to be able to say, what do you do? I'm a life doula. That's the best way I can describe it. If I had to write a book about what I do to help people, I read Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza, and that pretty much sums up all of the approaches that I use to work with people. It could have been, I thought, I wish I could write a book like that. That's exactly what I do. But I can't write on demand. I can't paint on demand. I can't draw on demand. It's all got to, it's all got to come from whatever's right at the core of me. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. There's so much in there that I could talk about, but I want to make sure that everyone has a go. So I was just going to go to Femke, if you want to share. Unmute yourself.
I'm trying. It's just I'm on my phone, so it's all quite small, but yeah, I think I've done it now. You can hear me? Yep. So are we just basically, sorry, I came in late, so we're just sharing basically a bit of our story on how we kind of came into working with creativity and how we're
Yeah, so around the topic of trauma as well. So you can share a bit about what you do, but in relation to the topics of creativity and trauma healing or trauma awareness.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm Femke Williams, and I am a former nurse, and I'm from the Netherlands. I've been in the UK since 1999. The year before I moved to the UK was actually one of the kind of most challenging years of my life. And that kind of triggered an old trauma. It triggered something that I wasn't able to put my finger on. And so basically, when I was younger, and growing up, I was always kind of involved with a lot of creativity. A lot of my family members were actually quite artistic, and we used to sit around the table, and aunties and uncles. One of my uncle was a teacher in art as well, and he taught us the watercolor art and stuff like that. I did a lot of drawing. And then, of course, when you're getting older and you're going to school and university, and then it all just falls by the sideline. So I kind of didn't do anything anymore for quite a while. So at university, then I went abroad in 1997 to work in a developing country, where I did a lot of creative stuff. I was working with a Facts for Life program. So I was talking about, Facts for Life in growing up within schools. So all about, hygiene and child development, and also kind of the deeper subjects. We talked about AIDS. We talked about all sorts of different things. And it was a fantastic thing to do. I really, really enjoyed it. I got the kids involved in creating songs around the topics and making drawings in class all around the topics and things. And then we had a full day that I organized there. I got sponsors and everything, where we got all the kids together and all the teachers and their parents, and we all came to this big open field where they could showcase some of did little sketches and all their drawings and all their songs. And it was a really fantastic day. But there was a side thing to that, because I'd also been in a relationship with somebody there. So when I got back in Holland, then of course it was about, what am I going to do? Am I going to go back there? Or is he going to come over here or whatever? But I'm not going to go into details of it, because it was incredibly complicated, not less because of the cultural differences as well. And so I kind of had to leave that all behind me. And I think that is what really kind of triggered something where I guess it was just the fact that you have to leave something behind that you really wanted. You wanted to make it work, but you couldn't. And it was just, kind of a lost love as well. And so the year after, I went to Scotland on holiday, and I met my now husband, and I moved to Scotland. And so it wasn't until 10 years later that I kind of then got back to art and creativity. And the main reason for that being that for over those 10 years, there was something missing. I wasn't able to put into words what it was that that was maybe, it felt traumatic. It felt like it was kind of something deep stirring within, and I just couldn't put my finger on it. And so creativity and art then helped me to kind of showcase it without having to use any words, really. So for me, that was the missing link. Meanwhile, of course, I had developed a lot of stuff. Spirituality came into my life because I started working with energy when I did my course in reflexology back in 2012. I set up my own business, did all these holistic therapies, also for my own healing. And then I brought chakra dance into my life. Then I brought all sorts of stuff into my life, all for my inner healing. And the missing link for me was that art. And so I brought that back. And now I'm using art for healing to share with others as well. So I run meditate and paint workshops. So we kind of tap back into our inner child. And we do some tapping as well in those workshops around, crushing self-doubt and bringing back self-worth and stuff like that. And then we just have our blank canvas and it's just go ahead, whatever it is that needs to kind of flow at that point in time, and everybody creates their own piece. And I think it's all about the freedom that creates. For me, that freedom and just being able to intuitively work with color and with the brushes and stuff like that. So yeah, that for me, that was very healing, and I see now that other people find that very healing too. So I also work with movement, so I am a chakra dance facilitator now as well. So we do these gentle kind of unraveling on whatever it is that we're holding in different parts of our body, without kind of having to re-traumatize, without having to go back to something. We're really in the moment, and I think that's the main thing with art, because it's mindful, isn't it? Art is so many things. Art is writing and journaling and creating your own course online and helping others in different ways, and making things. But it's your whole life is like art, isn't it? You're creating your life, your own life, constantly. So yeah, I find that really kind of satisfying and rewarding, working in that way with people, and of course for my own journey as well, because it's ongoing, isn't it? It never stops. So yeah, it's amazing. And I think healing at its core is about allowing back in who we are at our core level, because it gets so kind of muddled up by, the way that we're being conditioned, in our society, and the way what we're supposed to be and do and have, and it's bringing back the kind of the wildness of who we are. I think it's like, I call it a wild connection. So yeah, I think healing at its core is bringing back the vibration of who we actually are, which is joy and love. That's who we are at our core level. So allowing it back in, stripping off all the layers and allowing that back in, I think that is healing at its core. So that's what I'm trying to do, bringing back harmony and joy and vitality and balance and meaning, back into our lives. So yeah, that's it really. Thank you for letting me share that.
Thank you so much. I love how each person is kind of sharing from the heart, and there seems to be so much that people have, it's just pouring out of everyone on this topic. So it's really lovely to see. I'm just trying to find our Creatives Connect. So we did a collaboration where we did balancing the chakras. So
Yeah.
put that in the group. And we're going to arrange an in-person one at some point, weren't we? So I'd still love to do that, with your chakra dance as well. And I love experiencing your painting workshops with Rebecca, who's not with us tonight, but she's been on a lot of calls with us. And yeah, I think the amazing thing about this group is that everyone has so many skills and talents. It's almost like it's not even just skills and talents, it's heart, and compassion and energy and drive and resilience. And I feel almost overwhelmed, but in a really positive way, of how much everybody shared. And I'm going to come back to Siobhan because we are like nearly running out of time. But if anyone can stay a bit longer just to hear what Siobhan has to share with us tonight, I'm really pleased that everyone shared so much, because that's exactly what I created these sessions for, in the sense of I wanted you to feel that you're a part of this, that your creations matter, and I realized I didn't really talk much about what I'm doing or anything about my story. And Siobhan actually said to me she wants to do a session where she dedicates to my work, which made me cry the last time we had a conversation, because I realized how much I give to other people's businesses, and everyone's always getting business out of being on my group. And I think Siobhan wanted to help me to share more of what I do. So yeah, Siobhan, back to you now. Let me just, sorry, 1 second. That's part of my trauma. I just want to share that before I go back to Siobhan, but just one thing. My trauma is I've written lots of songs for many years. I started writing them because my mum wasn't very well. It wasn't why I wrote them. I started writing them before that, I think, when I was 10 years old, so I would have been younger. But when my mum became unwell when I was 14, and writing songs for me was how I healed myself. I didn't know that at the time. I've just released a song called Nothing Ever Dies, and it's a really important song to me. I have decided to release it on Patreon first, because as artists we don't tend to get paid too much, so I'm trying to build awareness of this, but also to start to receive for my work. So I'd absolutely love if anyone wants to become a Patreon member. It's very, very affordable prices. It starts at £1, then £6, and then there's I think there's a abundant package for 16 if anyone's got some spare cash. But I've also got lots of online courses and books and cards and one-on-one sessions. So yeah, anyway, just thought I'd get that in there. But yeah, off you go, Siobhan.
Wow, thank you. I just wanted to say thank you everyone for sharing as well, because I think it's important to talk about trauma as in a way to like normalize it, because I feel like for many years trauma's just been kind of like brushed under the carpet, especially in our culture. And we have this culture around, drinking or, going out to socialize and making small talk. So I think spaces like this are really important where we can share around those deeper things that impact us all, really. So really just I wanted to get us all to think about what trauma is, how that can show up in our lives, and how it can block us off from creating. So trauma can, put us into survival mode. So we'll talk about that in a little while. And then we can talk about how we can move out of that survival mode into creating. And like somebody said earlier around, you need to feel the pain to create. And sometimes that is true. Sometimes we need that pressure and we need that inspiration of feeling to be able to, move that through as well. So trauma is something that affects everyone. Some people might think, oh, I grew up and, I had really nice parents and everything was really rosy for me. I've never really experienced trauma. but I think we live in a world of constant experience. So things happen on a day-to-day basis that we might need to heal from, you know, whether it's someone swearing at us, you know, while we're driving down the road or whatever it is. Things happen to us as minor as that, and that can, you know, go on a scale up to, you know, complete trauma and traumatic events that impact us for the rest of our lives. But in a nutshell, what trauma is like an emotional response to something that is deeply distressing or disturbing. And it leaves a mark on us, you know, when we experience a trauma. So it could be, you know, could be as little as feeling unheard when we were children. It could be some nasty words that a teacher said. It could be being excluded from something in a friendship group. Could be a loss, or experiencing repeated failures. I think sometimes in business it can impact us as well when we, you know, maybe put something creative out there and we don't always get recognized for that, or we might not, people might not buy it. So then that can sometimes impact our worth or our value as a creator. So yeah, and it can affect the way that we see ourselves and perceive ourselves. It can manifest in low self-esteem, and it's sometimes that little voice that we hear saying, you're not good enough, or you don't deserve this, or why would people listen to you, you know. And it could also manifest as perfectionism. I think sometimes as creatives, we can fall victim to perfectionism, and that is just another trauma response that we use to not put things out there, you know. It's just another way, another shell to protect us from being exposed. So we can just get stuck in these cycles of self-sabotage, and it all links back to trauma. In my belief, I really feel that these things that we do to protect ourselves, what actually block us off from sharing who we are with the world, our own divinity with the world, you know. So these self-sabotage cycles that we get caught in, it is just our mind or our ego trying to protect us from perceived threats based on past trauma. But here's the thing, I think, with trauma is that trauma thrives in silence and in isolation. And when we live without the awareness of its effects, we remain in that survival mode. So it's like a state, survival mode is a state where we contract inwards and we guard ourselves and we avoid that vulnerability, and essentially we cut ourselves off from connection. So when we're in survival mode, our energy is just consumed by self-protection, and that leaves so little room for the growth, for the joy, and for the connection. And really it's survival mode is both a gift and a limitation. It's a gift in a way that it can protect us, and it can aid in our survival, but it also prevents us from the growth because we're just focused on survival. So I'm sure that you've all heard of, you know, fight, flight, freeze, or appease, and these are reactions to a trauma. And I mean, I will go into more detail on that. You know, I've got a course upcoming that I'd like to share with you all at the end. I'll talk a bit more about that. But I think when we're in survival mode, it's meant to be a short-term reaction to protect us from moments of trauma, but it's not meant to be a permanent way of living. And I think sometimes when we've experienced traumatic events, we can find ourselves in that space of walking around in survival mode all the time, and it just blocks us off. It's like walking around wearing armor, and flop as well. That's another trauma response. And I think it prevents you from fully connecting to the world, fully being vulnerable, fully feeling and fully sharing the experience of life with others. If you're constantly walking around wearing armor, it gets heavy and it just really blocks your experience of the world. So when we're in this survival mode, we hesitate to expand, we keep our true selves hidden, and the world never gets to see the full expression of who we are. And we miss out on that richness of living authentically and having those authentic connections. And that is one of life's tragedies, I think, when we don't, it's a life half lived when we live in that state. I think healing is possible, but it takes awareness and it takes a lot of self-compassion. I think when we begin to reconnect with creativity as a tool for healing, it's possible. So some of the women that I work with who have been through domestic violence, severe trauma, we have a wellbeing group, and one of the first things that we do is we just sit round and have a coffee and we do colouring sheets, and we just sit there and we just chat and we just colour in. And sometimes that is what's needed just to help them to get into a state of relaxation, to be able to think about colours, think about what might look nice together. And that can just be a first step in connecting to your creativity again. And I think I hear a lot of people say, I'm not very creative. And I just think we're human beings, our very nature is to create. Like Femke said, we're creating our lives every day. So everybody can and does create, whether that's, cooking or painting or dancing or storytelling. Everybody's got something that they can do, something that they can create. And I think at its core, creativity is about bringing something new into the world. And it's about bringing your essence into the world, letting your essence expand. And I think creativity can be so powerful in healing because trauma lives in our bodies, it's stored in our bodies, and it's, the memories are lodged in our bodies. And through creativity, we can express and we can allow that energy to move forward. So we can, whether that's through painting or with me in my own personal journey, writing has been the key to unlocking a lot of my trauma. So I used journaling as a form of therapy to explore in a safe environment what was going on within and allowing that to flow out. So when we allow that expression, we're allowing that energy movement and allowing it to leave our bodies and take on a new form. So it's kind of like transmuting it. And I think that's the beautiful thing with creativity. It allows us to just release that weight of what is not serving us any longer. So as we heal, then we move from that contracted state into expansion, and it's probably going to be like a very slow process. One of my favourite ever quotes is by Ananin, and it is, and the day came when the risk it took to remain tight in a bud became more painful than the risk it took to blossom. And I feel like when we understand that and grasp how heavy and how tight it is and how much energy we put into staying contracted, when we can just really let go of that and breathe that sigh of relief, we can expand. And the relief in that is overwhelming at times, and just such a beautiful gift that we can give to ourselves. And I think when we're in this state of expansion, something beautiful happens, and creativity becomes our divine currency in life. It becomes a way of a unique contribution that you're bringing to this world. So you allow your divine gifts to flow through, and that can help you to really connect with your purpose in this world. So yeah, I like to think of it as a divine currency. When we're creating and we're birthing something into the world, a divine gift, then it's a gift to others as well. So by holding on and keeping tight in that state of survival mode, we're withholding a gift as well. So your, I think, divine purpose and your gift to this world is to allow your creativity to flow and allow your divine self freedom to express itself in this world. Yeah, I think it can come in any form that feels comfortable to you. As I say, it could just be colouring. So it could be getting a colouring book and just spending 5 minutes colouring in. Anything that puts you into like a state of flow. And that could be, just dancing in the morning. What you're doing there is you're allowing your vibrations to raise, and just by doing that, you're going to lift the vibrations of those around you, just showing up as yourself in your divine flow. So that's what I mean by it being a currency. You're showing up with something to offer, and you're also pouring into yourself by doing that. You're giving yourself that gift of expression and allowing yourself to release that trauma and be in your natural state. So when you heal, you share your creativity, you give others permission to do the same as well. You will naturally inspire others to want to create. There's been so many times that I've been to like an amazing gig or seen someone like on TV, like The Voice or whatever, and then after I'm there with the music on in the background singing away. And I think like when we see others being in their divine flow, it inspires us naturally to want to create as well. So yeah, I think it all just starts with the awareness and being aware of how trauma can affect you and how it shows up. And then making that choice to listen to that voice and give voice to, sorry, just 1 second.
Okay, I'm not sure what
Sorry.
happened. Okay, sorry.
No, I'm back. My son just popped
That's
into the
all
room.
was
So
ready
yeah,
to-
I think the thing that I was trying to say is just being aware of what you've got to offer, even if you think it's nothing, just allowing yourself that chance to explore and expand, and just keeping in mind the notion that the world needs your gifts, and it doesn't matter about perfection. It just needs authenticity and connection. And when you can, your story, your art, your ideas, everything matters. All of that matters. Every single person's divine inspiration matters. And when you share from a place of wholeness and just being in connection with yourself, you inspire others to step out of survival mode and into their expansion too. So it's just about that divine support and offering each other that support and allowing for imperfection to be beautiful as well. And you might see someone else's artwork and think maybe I would have done this differently, but that is their divine expression, and just sharing that love for that person's divine expression. I just think trauma doesn't have to define you. If you've lived with trauma in your life, it doesn't have to be who you are. You're not your trauma. You are a divine being, and you also have a lot to give and offer this world. So healing isn't about erasing the past, or it's not about saying this didn't happen or bypassing it, but it's about integrating it and learning from it, using it as a foundation for growth. And I think creativity is one of the most profound tools that we have for allowing this transformation to take place. And just knowing that it's a path and not a destination. It's not about being fully healed or being this healed person. It's about allowing yourself to just express your pain, even if you do that on a daily basis, through whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's baking a cake or singing a song, just allowing that out. So I guess I just want to invite you to think about what might be possible for you. If you allowed yourself that space to create and express, and if you allowed yourself to not be perfect, in not showing up in the world being this perfect person, allowing yourself to have experienced trauma, and on the back of that still allowing yourself to have some expression and some creativity, without it having to be perfect. How would that feel, and what could you create? And just bearing in mind that your creativity is your divine currency, and that's what you're showing up in the world with, and you can spend it generously because it doesn't run out. It's not like money, you've not got to store it in a bank somewhere and hope that it grows. It's natural, it's innate, and it's forever flowing. So you've got this divine currency and you can spend it as much as you like, and the world is waiting for your light, waiting for that divine currency for you to show up and give and not be afraid of spending too much. So that's what I just wanted to share that with you, really, around, you can have trauma and you can also create, and the both can coexist, and perfection isn't everything. We're all allowed to not be perfect, and we can create and give that gift to others. So yeah, thank you for listening.
Thank you. Wow, it's such a rich conversation, and I feel like I don't know. I mean, we'll have to talk about this, but I feel like we need to do a full set, like a session where we give techniques, because I was just visualizing it as we were talking. Probably an in-person session would be really lovely.
Yeah.
And yeah, we could do like writing techniques, sounding, trauma releasing, like body stuff. So I just think that would be really helpful, because I was just thinking there's so much rich conversation, but also, there's so many tools that both you and I, and probably others in this group, we all have these tools for healing as well. So definitely don't just think that when you leave here tonight that, oh, that's it, and there's nothing more um to do. It's kind of, I think this is the start of, or the continuation of your healing and creative journey. And there's so many words there that you said that I typed out. I would enjoy that if we did little bits of this during the session. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much. I did put in a link to my course, The Creation Principles, as well. Siobhan, I think you've got the course, and a couple of others in this group have been on the course. So that is a really simple 5-step process for tapping into your creativity and getting it out there and having a plan to do that as well. So I just wanted to share that.
I feel like it is such a rich topic because it affects everybody's life. Everybody experiences trauma. It's one of the things that I'm really dedicated to helping people explore, and also I'm really dedicated to helping other practitioners, coaches, especially those that are in unregulated industries, just to have a deeper understanding of how trauma impacts people, how it impacts your clients, and how you can work with clients that have experienced trauma. I recently did some trauma stabilisation training with the NHS, and as a coach, I've been coaching for many years. That completely changed the way that I work with people now, just having that understanding of how you can work with people that have been, because it will impact, the way that people respond and the way that people attain goals and, move forward in life. So just having that basic understanding of trauma, the neuroscience of it, how it affects the brain and how that impacts, the results that people will have in life. So I think on the back of doing that, I've put together a trauma-informed practitioner course for coaches and wellbeing practitioners, which I will be offering in the new year. So I will be posting more in the Creatives Connect WhatsApp group about that. If you'd like to take part in that training, I will be offering a discount code for everyone in the session, everyone in the group. So I'll post more about that.
Thank you so much. I think that's such an important thing for people to get on board with if they're working with clients, and for everyone to have that awareness. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Thank you everyone for sharing. I think it's been an amazing evening, and if you've got any questions for me or Siobhan, we're happy to, you can connect with us either through the group, which I have posted a link for the group, for the WhatsApp group, or you can message us individually and follow us on social media as well. You're at the alignment underscore, wait, is it at the underscore alignment path? Do you want to put your links in?
Yeah, or I can put them in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
I'm not very active on Instagram, I will let you know. So if you want to connect with me on social media, it's Facebook. So my name's Siobhan Louise on Facebook. Feel free to send me a friend request or whatever, or follow me on there. But yeah, thank you so much for this space to talk about this important topic. And I've really appreciated hearing everybody else's experience as well. So yeah, thank you.